Hello, dear students. Hope you all have started your reading of the text. Today we'll start Chapter 1, The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. If you have seen the title, you could have guessed that what the text is about. Yes, it is about a lady, and more specifically, if we talk, it is the portrait of a lady which we are going to discuss, and about that the whole story or the text is about. So without wasting time, let's move further. Let's see the introduction of the lesson. The Portrait of a Lady is the story of the author himself. He describes his relationship with his grandmother over the years. He pens down, that means he writes, her daily activities and how she evolved as a character as time passed by. He explains her appearance, which helps create an image in the reader's mind. So, if we read the text carefully, we can see what type of lady or what type of appearance the lady was having. So, with this introduction, let's move further. We will talk about the explanation in details. The author talks about his grandmother. He had known her for the past 20 years, and she had always been old and wrinkled. As he had never seen the lady young, he feels that she was always an old lady, and she was having the same wrinkles on the face. He was told that she was once young and pretty, and she had a husband. His grandfather's portrait hung on the wall. So it is not only about the lady's portrait we are talking, but we get some information about the grandfather's portrait also. And there can be a question based on the grandfather's portrait. So how was the portrait of that grandfather? Let's see. His grandfather's portrait hung on the wall, in which he wore loose-fitted clothes, a turban, and had a long white-colored beard that reached his chest. He also appeared very old, and the author thought that he was someone who could have many grandchildren but not a wife or children. Now, this is how, as he was so small, this is how he is thinking about the grandfather. That he feels that the grandfather was only having grandchildren, but he is not able to think that he was having a wife and the children too. So this is the funny way he is talking about his childhood memories about grandfather. The author could never imagine that once his grandmother was young, and she was looking so pretty. He could not connect to this idea. She used to tell him and his cousins about her childhood memories, like the way she was playing games or the games she was playing. She was also a child, and so she also enjoyed different types of games at her childhood. They found, means these children who were listening to all those things from the lady, they found these stories illogical and disrespectful. Now, what is the reason behind that? Because they had never seen her young, they had never seen her playing. Okay, because what is the reason? Because it was beyond their imagination to think that grandmother was once a child, and she too played such games. They thought that her life stories were like the other moral stories which she used to tell them. Then she had always been short. Now this is the appearance of that lady, how she was looking. Okay, she was short she was fat, and even because of the age, she was slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. Means so many wrinkles were there on her face. How the writer has described the lady, these are the lines from the text itself, that he says the lines, okay, the crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. And he further continues, he says, no, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. Okay, so he just can't imagine that once the lady was young, once the grandmother too was looking young and pretty. He says, no, we can't believe that. I'm not sure about that. Old, she was terribly old, that she could not have grown older. Okay, so he feels that she was always and always in the same way, the way he had seen. He just says that no, she could not grow older because she was already terribly old, and she had stayed at the same age for 20 years. It is the opinion of the writer. Let's continue. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop, and the other telling the beads of her rosary. Now these are again the lines taken from the textbook. Her silver locks were scattered. Silver locks, the white hair, they were all scattered untidily. Now because of the age, we can understand these are the things which she was not able to manage, and that's why she was having silver locks and they were scattered untidily over. Now see her face, that is also described. Her face was pale, puckered, and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. So because of the age, this is what all happening to her. Okay, yes, she was beautiful. What he heard about the lady is once she was so beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains. See how he is describing the lady. He is talking about her and he compares her with the landscape in the mountains. So she was so beautiful, like an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. So this is what the writer says about the lady. We will continue the further discussion in our next video. Thank you.